Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to FDA's White Oak campus. This is our headquarters, and we are absolutely thrilled to have folks in the room joining us and folks joining us online. We're going to go ahead and get started this morning. This afternoon, sorry. We're going to hear a lot of great things from our experts at this roundtable. Next, we'll go to Dr. Mary Jane Minkin. Go ahead, please.
I'll put my slide up, first slide. Thank you all very much for inviting us here, and this is a great talks I'm listening from my colleagues, and thank you all for getting us all together. It's terrific. I'm Mary Jane Minkin. I'm an OBGYN, and I hang out in New Haven, where I've had for many, many years. I consult for a lot of people. You see them up there: Bayer, Astellas, Maine, Pfizer, Bonafide, Chaperone, Broomer, and my standard line is, I consult for them, but they don't listen to me anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. So anyway, and I'm going to put up a slide that is even crazier than everybody else's, but don't pay attention to it. Anybody who wants to talk about any of those matters, grab me after the meeting or send me an email, and I'm delighted to talk about them. But I'm going to focus on two of the issues which are really I'm passionate about menopause, obviously, but I'm really passionate about a couple of issues within it. And the first one that I'd like to talk about is education, because we have a lot of women, we have millions and millions of women out there, and we don't have enough practitioners to take care of them. And unfortunately, we don't have practitioners who know anything about menopause. And so I'm going to start talking about the lovely day, July 9th, 2002, that none of us remember, the day that the music died, and that all of our patients threw their estrogen, as Dr. Macri says, into the toilet, which is a line I use regularly. And what happened is, not only did our patients stop using estrogen, but the other thing that happened is they stopped learning about estrogen. Menopause education stopped on July 9th, 2002. And I have proof of this, okay? The other thing that was going on, besides the fact that women were told they were all going to get breast cancer and die if they continued to use their estrogen therapy, was the fact that we were in residency programs faced with a dilemma. We were telling our residents they were working too hard. Now, I may debate that, but anyway, but the key thing is that residency hours were being cut. So they were being cut from 120 hours a week down to 80. So you can't not train an OBGYN to do a delivery, to do some prenatal care, to do a hysterectomy. Hey, if women are going to think that estrogen is going to make them die, why bother teaching them about menopause? So menopause education got cut too. That died that day also. And we have proof of that. Do I have proof? Yes, I do. And one of the first excellent pieces of proof was published about 10 years after the WHI, 2013, when Dr. Wen Shen of Johns Hopkins did a nice survey of all the residency programs in the United States and Canada, and showed that 20% of them were teaching menopause education. 80% were not. Well, we made great strides since then, and 10 years later, Dr. Peter Schnatz and his group, former president of the Menopause Society, did a follow-up survey and basically found that now we were up to 30%. Now, this is just 2 years ago, that 30% of the residency programs in the US and Canada were teaching menopause education. So where are these kids going to learn anything? It's really tough. And then what happened is now we're having an onslaught of women who are now turning menopausal, perimenopausal, and menopausal. And when the WHI came out, they weren't paying attention to the WHI. They were paying attention to maybe contraception or something else from women's health, but they weren't talking about this menopause business. Well, guess what? Now they're getting hot flashes, and now they're not feeling so good, and their brains aren't working so good, and their vaginas aren't working so good, and they go to their young doctor who doesn't know anything about this. Uh-oh, we got problems. Now, fortunately, there is some good news, okay? And Dr. Sorrell and I have participated in running a bunch of courses for these young folks, and we've seen marked improvement in people attending these courses, wanting to learn something, but they got to learn all this stuff. And we also have some good news, and that people are turning towards menopause. And so far as the Menopause Society, which used to run about 2,500 members per year, actually 2,500 members at all in the society, now is up to about 10,000. Okay, and this dramatic increase has been over the last 4 years. So there is some hope, folks, but we need to start training people, and we need to do what we can, whether we need to reach out with them videos or whatever. The other thing that's crucial is we need to train other practitioners, that we need to train our nurse practitioners, we need to train our PAs, and many of them who are tremendously interested in menopause care, and we need to go to them, train them, have them participate in these courses. Many of our participants in these courses have been PAs, APRNs, who really want to get involved in the practice. We need our pharmacists. Everybody needs to get on board and learn. So I think that's really good that we're seeing this, but it's a real dearth of education out there. And anything you can do to train these kids, that's terrific. So keep up that. Now, the next thing I'd like to talk about, though, is cancer. And that's my other passion. And about 17 years ago at Yale, we started one of the first sexuality, intimacy, and menopause programs for cancer survivors. A very important group out there. There are over 4 million breast cancer survivors alone in this country. And we have women with all sorts of other cancers. And many of them have gone through menopause from some of the therapies they're going through, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, surgical therapy. And many of these women are dealing with menopausal issues. Now, many of these programs do deal with sexuality out there, which is extremely important. Don't get me wrong, I'm pro-sex, that's great. But the key thing is that we need to take care of these women for menopausal issues, and many of these programs don't feature that, okay? And so we need to do that, and one of the other important groups out there are what we call previvors. We're diagnosing many women out there with what we call the genetic abnormalities, things like BRCA, BRCA1, BRCA2, and many other abnormalities that basically affect women's ovarian function, okay, by either taking it out, giving them therapies, things like that. And many of the women who know they should have their ovaries out because they're potentially very dangerous for them to keep in there are terrified about taking them out because they don't want to go through menopause. And unfortunately, many people have been denying them estrogen, not only systemic estrogen, but also vaginal estrogen, and they're terrified about what's going on for them. And we know if they keep their ovaries in longer, they have a higher risk of getting cancer. We have to take care of all these women. All these young women, all these older women. So I would put a plea up there, and I just want to end by telling you what happens to my patients. I basically tell every patient, whether she has malignancy or a question along those lines, or just a Jane Doe average patient, when I prescribe her vaginal estrogen, I say, let me tell you what's in the package insert, let me tell you about it, et cetera, which is great. They understand it. They go home, and I've had this happen to me on many occasions. They put it on the kitchen table, their partner picks it up, he or she reads the package insert and says, I know this is not good. It says here you're going to get cancer. It is not worth us having sex for you to get cancer again. So let's just throw this stuff out. And they don't use their vaginal estrogens. And this is tragic. So that's what I'd like you all to think about. And I'm happy to talk about the rest of the stuff, too. Thank you all.
Very good. Thank you.